So let's move on now. I want to talk about this incredible story of an agnostic father and Navy veteran who has lost custody of his children because he's agnostic. Can you believe that story, Lewis?
How is that legal? I find that it's very confusing to me.
It is. So here's the deal. This is a guy. His name is Craig Scarberry, and he had joint custody of his children with his wife. He used to be a Christian, apparently, or at least was okay with his wife's Christian beliefs. The kids went to a Christian school, but recently he has actually been told by a judge that his visiting rights are going to be reduced significantly, and he will no longer have joint custody. And the immediate question is, is this judge doing something that is against the law? And let's be honest, they even go to a Christian school still. And the judge said that because of his lack of Christian beliefs and the fact that the judge believes it is better for the children to have the consistent Christian upbringing, his access to the kids is going to be reduced. And this guy's only an agnostic. Imagine if he was an atheist, Lewis.
See, that makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense to anybody except this judge, apparently.
I mean, it's the judge's job to interpret the law, right? And how does this fall under the law?
That's the question I'm having. Now, the question is, how doesn't this violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment? I am no constitutional expert like Christine O'Donnell, so I won't claim to be. Unlike Christine O'Donnell, I won't claim to be. But this seems to be using religion as a basis to decide legal matters in court. And the text is, of that First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I believe that by doing this, there is an establishment of religion that is implicit there, and law is being made as a result of it. Legal proceedings are happening on the basis that it is better for children to have spend more time with the Christian parent versus the agnostic parent. Where am I going wrong on that basis?
Right. Well, that was the judge's logic.
And to me, it doesn't make any sense. Now, some people are saying, well, this is Indiana. I'm not surprised because Indiana is conservative. You know what? I'm going to refute that or repudiate it. I'll do both. Why not? Because you know what? I thought that the conservatives were the supporters of the Constitution. And they should be the first ones, and we don't know the personal politics of this individual judge, we can guess, to say this is a clear violation of the Establishment Clause. Now, this is a really clear indication. Forget about this specific story. This is a really clear indication of the type of problem that exists only because religion exists. And I am not saying religion should be abolished. You know, Lewis, that is not anything I have ever said or implied on this show.
Right.
But what I'm simply pointing out is that this problem would not exist if it were not for religion. Am I wrong there?
No.
And really, how can I talk sense into the many people that are emailing me saying they agree with this? I mean, hey, God told them that this is right. So it goes above and beyond any rules like the Bill of Rights. This is what's right according to God. So the judge should say the kids need more time with the Christian mother rather than the agnostic, not even atheist father. He believes in religion. He believes in God, just not necessarily Jesus, but that's not good enough for this judge because it's better to be with the Christian mother.
I imagine there will be an appeal here. The father will win, and I'm praying that the judge will be disbarred.
I hope you're right. I believe that this will be overturned on an appeal. The ACLU, you would think this would be the perfect situation for the ACLU, but they actually said they don't do custody cases. And at its root, technically, this is a custody case. But, I think that this is bigger than that. I think this goes bigger than just the issue of parental custody. This really is going into, we hear a lot about First Amendment rights when it has nothing to do with what's going on. What's the perfect example of this? Dr. Laura. Remember that, Lewis?
Right.
Dr. Laura said...
Saying she lost her First Amendment rights.
Dr. Laura Schlesinger, after using the N-word 11 times in a bizarre rant on her radio show, said she is quitting radio. She's not renewing her contract at the end of the year because her First Amendment rights were taken away because so many people were angry about what she said and weren't going to listen to her show anymore. And we actually had that discussion in the mainstream media about, were Dr. Laura's rights taken away here? How can she get her First Amendment rights back? And then the bottom line was, Dr. Laura, First Amendment protects your right to say whatever you want, and you did. The First Amendment has nothing to do with people finding it offensive and deciding to tune out your horrifically tuning out your show. I won't make any value judgments of the show.
Right. Had her First Amendment rights actually been taken away, she would have been charged with something.
Well, not necessarily. Somebody else, whoever took the rights away, could have been charged with something, or there would have been some legal action.
Both.
Right. So that is a completely fake First Amendment issue. This actually seems like a real one here. Just looking at the text of the First Amendment and looking at what happened here and looking at the fact that religious pretenses and the perceived superiority of Christianity over just being generally religious but not following Jesus, right? Being an agnostic, is being brought in as the basis for a legal decision. Let's hope that this is overturned, Lewis.
We'll have to keep our eyes on it.
Today on the bonus show, great bonus show coming up. By the way, a lot of comments, people saying the bonus show for Monday is the best we've ever done. They say it's the funniest anecdote we've ever told. It involves me cheating during an English class and Lewis in that same class setting off we'll call it a stink bomb, so to speak, in a trash can. Literally 50 emails I must have gotten just in the last couple of days from people saying that it's the funniest bonus show ever. But today's bonus show, we'll be talking about, Lewis is going to tell us, since it is his birthday, the most interesting incident he's had as a bartender at his bar. We'll also be talking about the two biggest, most horrible lies from George W. Bush's memoir. And also, who does George Bush number 41 say would make a good president? Might surprise you. And also now, new member benefit. The entire 1-hour podcast is now available commercial-free as an added member benefit. So davidpakman.com/membership. We need a couple of minutes here. Everybody needs to settle down. I can tell Lewis and our entire team is very wound up from the iPad being given away and all of the other great music. So we'll take a break and we'll be back in a couple minutes after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
The David Pakman Show is made possible by listeners like you and by Greenfield Savings Bank, building a strong community one account at a time, with neighborhood offices in Greenfield, Amherst, Conway, Shelburne Falls, South Deerfield, and Turners Falls, and online at greenfieldsavings.com. By the Daily Hampshire Gazette and GazetteNet.com, connecting our communities with local news and information. By DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. Find out more about underwriting The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.